Welcome.
That's my sword to go home. I think
That's a nice color.
Thanks.
So healthy and, I like
You're
that.
glowing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. A lot of it actually, I have faded. I was much darker, and then I went into the jungle. And it's a rainforest. It's jungle, so it was like not a lot of sunshine. So
Scared in there with bugs and everything?
Was your bare feet?
yeah, it was fair.
That's cool.
You were bare
That's
feet?
so scary. It's not cool.
That's cool.
So you were
What?
grounded in the rainforest.
I was.
Tell me the animals you saw while you were in.
I will. Let's just anchor in first, shall we?
Everybody else
Let's just,
knows.
I know. I want to share. Ian, let's just get really present, shall we? So let's just all take a big, deep breath in together. And just let it go. Do another. Just breathe in, big and full. Welcome you back home into this now moment. Just surrender this breath out, becoming very present of who and where you are right now. Let the next breath flow in easefully and expansively. Let the next breath out exit with grace. Become fully aware of your body, your physical body, the weight of your body, the space you take up, the way the breath flows in and out, the way this heart beats so fully, so vibrantly, so radiantly within you. Becoming aware of everyone in this space, the uniqueness of you and everyone in this space, the gift of this present moment. Releasing any ideas of what's happened previous to this now, releasing any ideas of what's going to happen after this now, and just settle into this now moment. It's all we got. It's all we're here to live in, to play with this body, this mind, and this spirit. Take a deep breath in. Just let it go. All right, now we're here. Now we're here for Body, Mind, Spirit. I'm Jane, for those of you that don't know me. Again, if you can make sure that your phones are on the silent position, I would really appreciate that. The ADD in me gets real distracted real fast. It's like, squirrel, oh God, I don't know anything anymore. I know nothing. So yeah, y'all, I'm so happy to be back. I feel like I was going to be back last Thursday, and then I had some flight situations that Costa Rica was like, you're staying here. And then when I left Costa Rica and landed on the United States soil, it was like, now we're going to make your life difficult. And I was like, because I kept asking the universe for a sign, right? Like, give me a sign. Am I supposed to stay? Like if I'm not supposed to go back, that's what I asked for. If I'm not supposed to go back, give me a sign. So I couldn't leave the country the first day because the flight never showed up for that. And then the second day, after they put me in this like super dope ass resort, which I was like, wow, this is so nice. What? This has a bidet in it? Legit. I didn't use it. I didn't know how, but whatever. But they had a bidet, and I was like, whoa, I like going up a notch in my life if there's a butt washer in the bathroom. Right?
I have one in my
And
home.
so nice. I love that. I might come over and visit.
Nice.
And then when I did get to fly out, then everything started to become a really big challenge, from missing a connecting flight because the flight left a little delayed, going through TSA multiple times. And y'all know TSA is no fun the first time. Do it multiple times, staying awake all night because you keep having to move lines and standing in lines for 6 hours overnight. It was just like, so finally I was like, oh, hey, universe, how about I get it? And how about if I'm supposed to do anything different, you give me the signs and steps on how. Like how to make these changes easefully, right? So all that to say is I'm really, really happy to be back. And I'm really happy to see everyone's faces. It's good to see familiar faces and some new faces. And it's just really good to be here. So thanks for being here with me today. I really am grateful for it, for you. So, yeah, what do you want to talk about? I mean, we can talk about my trip. We can talk about anything.
Tell me the animals you saw.
Okay, so the animals I saw. So I saw a lot of toucans.
What is that?
They're the birds.
Oh, yes.
The Fruit Loops, the toucan salmon.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I want to say good morning to the people online. Please join us digitally, and I'll add you into the mix. So it was so cool. I saw so many toucans because the first place I stayed was it was in the jungle, but it was like on the mountainside. So I could see down and the ocean and the sunset, which was amazing. So it was super silent up there, right? And so I didn't know the sound the toucans make. And when they flap their wings, because they're not like normal. If we can make some space for Alan, he's coming in.
Yeah, that's right over there. Is there an open chair over there?
Yeah, he can sit there.
Okay.
You want a chair right
Let's sit right here.
Okay.
Get a chair over there.
Yeah, I remember.
Good morning.
Little young brother, Al. Over here, bud.
So when the toucan flies,
Too big, but,
I'm happy you're here, Alan.
What?
I'm happy. I am happy you're here.
You are?
I am.
Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Slide over? Yeah, sure.
Why the hell no?
Exactly. So when the toucan flies, so it's this. Usually it's a relatively black bird. Sometimes they have markings on them, but the beak is this giant beak, and it has this curve, and it's different colors. And when it flies, it goes, and you hear it in the wind, and then nothing,
Oh, cool.
and then when it stops and it starts to like preen or whatever itself, I think that's the word, right? When they like mess with their own feathers, it's like. And it's like such a loud, like it was so cool. And I was like, what is that? And they make this really loud sound that almost sounds like it's laughing. And I saw them everywhere, right? So I'm like looking up the spiritual meaning of the toucan because I'm like, why am I getting all these toucans? I mean, I get that they live here, but like I've been there before and I've never seen that many toucans.
Wow.
And it was all about communicating and using our spiritual gifts. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. So I saw toucans.
What's the topic today?
Well, right now it's toucans.
Cane's trip.
Toucans. I just got back from Costa Rica, so we're just kind of talking about that.
Jane, did you see any monkeys?
I did.
Yeah, I thought you probably
I did. I
Were
didn't
they
see
flying?
as many. No, I didn't see as many as last time.
Right.
I heard more of them than anything. So there are howler
You never had-
monkeys down there,
Oh.
and I didn't get to see any of them, but they're like out, and like so you're just like wherever you are, and you hear that like out, and you can hear them come closer, and it's the most majestic sound ever because there's like, is it 1? Is it 20? I don't know.
Wow.
Good morning. Yeah.
Hey, by any chance, did you see any lemurs while you were down there?
Not this time.
Lemurs.
Um,
Where are you?
I was in Costa Rica. Yeah. I didn't see any lemurs this time. However, I did meet Mauricio. I named Mauricio. So the first place we stayed had an open air kitchen. So it was just open. It was just open. I mean, you had like little mini fridges and like the stovetop, the sink, pantries. And it was just there weren't any walls for that. And so we were told by the homeowner that there's I forgot the name of it. It's like a Pershneberger. I don't know, but it's like a Costa Rican raccoon. And she was like, just make sure you put all your food away, and you may want to take the chairs and
Gotcha.
block the pantry door. It's like, okay. So there are 4 of us there with groceries for a week. So we're like packing it into this one pantry door, and we're shoving the chairs to block the door from this, not raccoon, but whatever, from opening it.
But everything was sealed,
The food,
the food.
I mean, for the most part, but we had fruit that because we had stopped by the market,
So is it Peruvian food?
right? Huh?
Costa Rica's Peruvian food?
It's Costa Rican food, and there's some Caribbean food on the Caribbean side, but I was on the Pacific side. So instead of it being like Caribbean, it was more like the tikka, the native.
12:30. Anybody have a sea charger?
I actually don't.
Okay.
Did you see any lions or zebras or anything like that?
Nothing like that. But this,
Y'all see them up there. I bet you think.
I put on vibrate.
It's a Katsamude, that's what they call them down there.
What?
What?
Katsamudes.
Mm-mm, it wasn't
That's
that.
one, okay,
It's one.
that's one.
Yeah, it starts
got-
with an M.
Oh.
Hey. So anyway, so I wake up in the middle of the night to all this ruckus, and I go down there, and there's this big raccoon, and it's like, oh shit, and it runs off, and I was like, damn it. So I like renegotiated my fortress.
He ran when he saw
He
you.
did. He ran. So the next night, same thing, right? Hear the ruckus. This time I open the door and it's like, I'm out. And it runs. I go back to bed and I hear another ruckus. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Homie was on the stairs up to the bedroom. So I opened the door and it's like 4 steps down from me. And it's as big as the steps are. And it's black and gray and all the stripes. And it was like, oh, you really saw me. So it was this whole ordeal of like keeping Mauricio out of the food.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, I saw tons of just macaws,
Uh-huh.
parrots,
Uh-huh.
lot of lizards, so many lizards, grasshoppers that are
No.
Like, big, like size of your hand, and like big heads that would like turn around and be like, hey,
What was it?
what?
What was it?
Grasshoppers.
Yes.
hmm?
Grasshopper with 3 heads?
Big
No,
heads.
big heads.
Are we eating grasshoppers?
I was not eating grasshoppers. No, I was not eating them. And so this was cool. So after, after we left that area at the coast, one of my friends and I went deep into the jungle and stayed at a permaculture farm. And I got to see close up a scorpion. It was in the shoe of the person that was sleeping in the room next to me. And so he came out with this big scorpion on his hand and he was holding the tail because that's apparently what stings you. And he was like walking around like, and I was like, whoa, that's a lively feeling in my body right now to like be that close to a scorpion. Oh, it's so cool.
I've never seen it in person.
Right? God, it was nuts. Yeah.
Remind me again, what are we focusing on right now?
Right now, scorpions.
Scorpions. Why?
Why not?
We were talking about Jane's trip to Costa Rica, and she was talking about the scorpions
And other things.
and other things.
And they can be your friend.
That's why you gotta be on time. Things going. Bullshit. Bullshit, that was bad.
What are we getting out of that?
Everyone's a
Talking
friend.
about
I wanna be
scorpions.
friends.
Oh, it was.
I think it's like community and conversation and connecting and just being humans together. And that's what I feel as though it's all about. That's so we are the embodiment right now of body, mind, spirit. We are acting it all out.
Yeah, that was
And Jane
bad.
took a really exciting trip and we're interested in hearing about it.
Yeah, we wanted to know about it. I did.
Thanks.
It's too.
Thanks. And then let's see. So
Y'all never been to Costa Rica?
there was, so check this. Y'all want to hear something really cool? This was really magical for me. So I have been serving plant medicine in ceremonies for quite a few years now, and I work with cacao. And it's a really big heart opener. It's an ancient medicine. They call it the food of the gods. And it's just been an ally for me in my own recovery and my own health and wellness and my spiritual journey. So I've been offering this medicine for years now, and I've been traveling to do it. Cool. So when I went to this permaculture farm, they have cacao. So y'all, I got to take the cacao and like it had been dried. So then I roast it lowly and slowly. And I do that. And then I take it and there's this big mortar and pestle. It's like this tall. And there's this big pestle that's like heavy. It's like a weight. And I'm like mashing these cacao pod beanie babies to get the shell off and get like the nibs. And then I take what I created or what I mashed or whatever, and I separate the shell from all of the nibs using a fan. And the weight of the nibs are heavier, so they would plop. And then the shell was lighter, so they would go further into another bin. So I do that a few times. And then there was a grinder. So I take what I had, the nibs, and put that in the grinder, and I'm grinding it. And it made this like cacao paste. And then that night I got to serve it in ceremony to like 35 people that were there that are like conscious new earth creators that travel the world, creating new systems, creating conscious communities, and like doing these really big things. And I got to have ceremony serving the medicine that grew on the land that like I hold very near and dear to my heart. And that was so cool.
That's cool.
God, it was so cool.
So you ate it.
We drink it. So I mixed it with water
Uh-huh.
and it turns into like a medicinal elixir and we just drink it pretty quickly. And then in about 15 minutes, it opens up the heart. It floods us with feelings of bliss and euphoria. It's a relaxant and it also stimulates the blood flow. So it increases inspiration and creativity.
You
What's
do
it
that
called?
here too, right?
Yeah, I do.
Cacao?
It's cacao, but it's ceremonial grade cacao. So it's like super pure. It's not processed.
Pure, straight cacao.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, my old roommate would do, is it Ascawat? What's it called?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Is that somewhere? It's just a different
That's like
medicine.
Very different. Yeah. Ayahuasca is a vine and this is a
Oh,
fruit.
okay.
It's
Okay.
a fruit. Cacao is a fruit.
Mhm.
So
I'm gonna write that
it
down.
seems like last time you talked about this, cacao is like cocoa, but not as processed. Is that what you were saying?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same plant, basically.
It
right?
is the same plant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With no additives and a lot
Is
less
it- is it-
processing.
Because I know they add sugar to cocoa to make it chocolate. So is it bitter?
Oh, yeah.
Very bitter?
Mm.
It's very bitter.
So your question is why?
How long did that sensation last?
The medicine stays in our body for about 4 to 5 days.
Wow.
And the like, whoa, I feel this usually a good solid 5 hours.
Wow.
And it's not like psychoactive, like you don't see stuff on it. It's just like you feel really good,
Uh-huh.
you know, you just feel really good.
Is that legal, Jane?
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
cool.
It is legal.
And you made that.
I
you served it to
did.
30 people.
Yeah.
That had just
Wow.
Yeah.
You did that.
Yeah, I did that. I did that. I did. Thank you for saying that because that's literally what I said afterward to myself. And I was like, thanks. I was like, I did that. I was like, oh shit, I did that. I was like, oh, I did that. And I was like crying.
In and of itself, going through that process.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was so cool. Thank you all for celebrating that with me.
I'm glad that you got to experience it.
Thank
Was it
you.
different than your normal process of preparing it? Like
Yeah.
going through
Yeah,
the
because
entire process?
Yeah.
Did it feel better?
it felt beautiful because other people were there with me. So there was like a community creation. So like I was
Oh.
singing to it, and then like there was a gentleman that was playing his guitar. There was another woman that was singing to it. So it was just imbued with all of this community love and energy and music. And then when we took the medicine, then we ended up there was a woman there that's also a DJ, and so we did an ecstatic dance afterward.
Kind of like the toad, but not really, because
Yeah, but not.
not really.
Yeah, not
toad
at
is
all.
something different.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
So Jane, is there any way that you can include some spirituality in your story? Tell us.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so this trip really connected me with the mother, the divine mother. You know, the divine mother is earth. It is the creator. It is the source of creation. It is love made manifest, right? Because love is the light. That's the masculine. Love made manifest is the feminine. It's the dance between the two is the life that we live, right? Between the masculine and the feminine energy, between the light and the dark, between the unseen and the seen. Like that's life right there. And so for me to go spend that much time deep in the heart of the jungle where y'all, for me to get on the internet was a joke. For me to just text somebody, I had to walk out of the dorm room that I was in, down a trail, cross a creek, up a hill, through a woodshed, go to the road, and there were 2 buildings, and that was the Wi-Fi. And so I would stand there just so, and I'd be able to text. And I texted my mom on her birthday because I was down there, and I was like, "Hey, happy birthday! I don't know, bye." But then if like 2 other people got on the internet, like you were out, right? So it was like, meh. So it was just there was no Wi-Fi. The only vibration that I was in was all nature.
Wow.
It was the sound of the birds, the river, the creek, the little waterfall that I was near, the people singing, you know, because there were, I don't know, maybe 30 of us there at one point, kind of coming in and out after the festival. So just being with all of that energy and that deep realization that this is all that life is. It's just me with the earth, with humans, eating the food that the land grew, doing dishes together, preparing the food together.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it was literally, it was life. And then also seeing, so the rain started to come early. Normally the rainy season, their winter doesn't come until April, but it started while I was there, I think, for me to experience that. So every day around 2:00, it would be like a torrential downpour, and talk about being forced inward. You know, like you can't go down to the river. It might sweep you away. You know, I don't want to go. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
you know, and then now the land is muddy. I'm not going to go, I will go play in the mud, but I'm not going to go play in the mud. I didn't feel like it. But it was this reminder too, that this life energy is so beautiful and so fragile and so resilient at the same time. The land that I was on had been completely clear cut in the late 70s, early 80s and used for cow pasture. So it was no forest, it was deforested, it was nothing. And so the group that bought this land has been reforesting it. And so you can't tell. I mean, it's just lush. You know, the trees just aren't mammoth, but they're still super tall because that's just the way they grow. So watching the fragility of the land, meaning one of the last days that I was there was a landslide. And so like we couldn't get out.
Like it covered the road, is that what happened?
There you go,
Okay.
that was the university.
I was gonna-
You gotta stand.
I
You
know.
ignored it.
I know. Oh, I know. Oh, believe me, I know.
That's funny, because I was gonna ask you if you had any quicksand. but so
No
mudslide, that's
quicksand.
pretty
No.
close.
Yeah, it was like, so, you know, just seeing how the land itself, because that area had been deforested. And so the land itself wasn't stable. So just the washing of the rain created a landslide. And this area has landslides apparently a lot because you can only revegetate it so at certain times, but then if it rains, it's going to wash it away. But if you do it when it's dry, it's going to die. And so there's this like fragility on supporting it, and it can just wash away. But then once it starts to take root, right? Like life, like our life, right? Once I'm on this path of recovery, of health, of wellness, of commitment, of devotion, of whatever, once that way of being takes root, shit grows, right? Friendships grow, relationships grow, my life prosperity grows, like everything grows. So it was like everything was just a message of the potency of life, the value of getting back to nature and to the divine mother energy, the realness of what is here, the reality of what life is here, the earth and the humans and life upon it. That was like, and I've always held that stuff super near and dear to my heart. I've always been the kid that was like, "Did you recycle?" You know, like that was always me. But there's something that shifted deeper for me with this journey. And the air was so clean. Like they didn't spray the skies. Yeah. And no chemtrails at all. And so it was just clean air and like going out there and just breathing, and my eyesight is better because I'm so oxygenated. I'm like, oh shit, I can actually see better. I can hear better.
Wow.
Wow.
That's something.
Yeah. It's amazing what nature does for us when we allow ourselves to just be with her. You know, I wasn't on a screen much at all. And so I didn't have that blue light jabbing me in my eyes and my third eye.
Yeah.
You know, it was just the full spectrum of rainbow light coming in. It felt good. So I'm hoping I can like emanate it out. And I noticed that they haven't sprayed the skies here, and now today's day 3, I think today's day 3 that they haven't
What do you
sprayed.
mean spray the sky?
Geoengineering,
Yeah.
chemtrails.
So they have these planes that
And
release trails of
aluminum and among other things. Yeah.
they have trails that they leave behind, and they're not commercial flights, and you can see that in the pattern. They fly very close together, and you'll see like an argyle pattern in the sky.
Uh-huh.
It's not commercial flights. They're spraying cadmium, barium, and aluminum particulates into the sky.
Why?
They do it for a couple reasons. One is to keep humans ill, and if we're sick, then they make money, right? Big pharma and insurance companies.
Okay.
They do it to prevent or hinder our spiritual ascension, our spiritual growth, because nature is spiritual. It's a spiritual manifestation of life. So that means the sun is a part of that spiritual ascension. So when we can get those solar waves
Right.
and solar energy, it literally lights up part of our higher self's
Right.
DNA.
Right.
So the aluminum specifically refracts that light so that we don't get the fullness of it here.
So,
Yeah.
I do something.
And it's a part of also weather control and manipulation, because the earth climate is changing. And it's not because of people. She's changing.
Uh-huh.
She's changing. Like, they're blaming humans on climate change, and they're
Right.
saying it's doing all this stuff. And it's like, no, she's waking up. The earth is waking up because she's been controlled. And you can see that with a lot of humans, right? Many of us who've been controlled are kind of like breaking free of these mental patterns, of these relationships that have held us bound, right?
Yeah.
So everything is a reflection, as above, so below, the micro, the macro. So we're changing and expanding and kind of like shaking off these chains that have bound us. So is the earth. So the they is trying to manipulate that and control the weather to keep our spirits
Uh-huh.
and our energy and our mental acuity down, so that we can still be dumb and unaware and keep feeding the program with our energy and keep buying the things and keep distracting ourselves and keep using substances instead of us living from our heart, because then we are literally an output then of like divine energy.
Right.
We become too powerful for them. You know, what did you say back there? I heard you.
I was gonna say, this is noted during the time of during the time of Haile Selassie. If anybody knows anything about Rastafarianism, and that broke down to the death of 8 million livestock.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I'll talk more about that in just a sec.
So I was just curious, who is the they that you're referring to? The government, corporations?
Yeah.
Or
So
because
there-
they're conspiring to poison our airways?
So there
Bill
are
Gates.
Is conspiring to spread poison in our airways
Yeah.
just for this exclusive reason of spreading poison?
yeah.
Okay.
So there's.
I was just trying to
Gee,
understand
what
what
is
you were
that
saying.
called? I'd like to
And
research it a little.
You can research particulate trails, chemtrails, geoengineering, climate forcing.
Okay. I've
Any
never
of
heard
those?
Any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, any
I've
of
been doing
those.
that for a long
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
It's in food and it's in all GMO. You know,
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff that gets deep.
Yeah.
Aluminum definitely dumbs you down.
What do they think is good about what they're doing? Are they just?
They're trying to prevent us from
Exactly.
growing spiritual.
It's a form of control. You know, and if we kind of look at it from this bigger perspective, right? We're going to just say the they, right? And we can call it BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, Chase. We can call it by name. I just like to refer to it as they. They're just greedy beings that like to control a population in the name of grabbing land. It's all about land grab. Okay. So if you think about, like, imagine you have the earth as a plane, right? And you've got this dome over it, almost like like a firmament, but like a snow globe, right? So it's like that. So you have that one little confinement, right? And then it's like, well, let's tell people it's actually smaller. Okay. So now we're going to cage them in a belief that it's actually smaller than it is in this example. Okay. So it's like if you put an elephant, if you chain an elephant when it's young, And when the elephant grows up, it won't pull the stake out, even though it could, because it just believes that it can't. It's the same concept. It's the way just our brains work.
Okay,
So you tell people that this is actually this big.
right.
Okay. And so then that kind of gives us this feeling of like, oh, I don't have a lot of space, but it's just what I have to work with. And then you tell people, let's group these people and let's grow them to be prisoners in the system. Okay, yeah. And then let's grow these people to be in the corporate box. Yeah. And they'll be the worker bees. Yeah. And we'll get these people and we're just going to not give them anything. They're just going to live on the streets and we'll just watch them kill each other, right? And so in each one of those are smaller cells, right? Smaller cells and smaller cells. And then you go back just to the individual and then we have the smallest cell of cage, which is just our mind and our thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't want people to wake up, because that starts to open up those cages and they just start to see through what they call the illusion. When you look at the yogic text, it's called the Maya. The Maya is the illusion. It's the illusion that we're separate with all these cages and stuff, you know. And if people think that we are separate, then it's easy to control, because then it's like, well, then you're like this and I'm like this. Well, then one of us has to be better than the other, and we're going to fight about it. Yeah, it's divide and conquer.
Yeah, playing people against each other.
Right.
That's
And then you keep, and then you just get a population and you just make them sick.
Yeah, of course, if you think part of the population
You know.
is conspiring to poison the other part of the population, that also could be part of that. In theory, I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
It would if it weren't the earth as a whole.
The earth as a whole?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're.
The conspiring to hurt life on earth as earth, it's a whole. It's not just saying, let's just harm these people here or these people here. It's a world domination.
Oh, no, there definitely is world domination, but I'm saying the idea that is done specifically for that only purpose. Corporations do things for make money, governments do things for make money. Governments around the world don't really, they already have taken the land for like years, and then they decide who has the land. That's how white governments are kind of set up. But I was just, the point about that governments and corporations together are working specifically spraying with planes in the air poisons for the specific reason of poisoning us to make us dumber, can also be one of those things where somebody is telling you that to get you to think that corporations and governments are specifically, and people in them are specifically against you. I mean, that
What would
could
be
be true,
What would be the
or it
benefit
could
of that?
be the benefit of getting people to fight amongst each other. The same point you made earlier is that if we're fighting amongst each other, we may not see what's actually going on. I mean,
But-
I've
So here's a
witnessed.
question. Here's a
Sure,
question.
sure.
So if we all know, may I use you as an example, because it would
You
never
sure
be, it would
can.
never be true.
All right.
So what if all of us in here in this room just now wake up to the fact that Kim's trying to kill us? I know, right? Then, like, thank you for right? So we all just became aware of this, right?
Right.
Now, are we going to fight against each other? No. We're going to be like, what? Right? So that's the
But
thing.
you're not, that's not what you're saying.
No,
though.
that
You're
is
not
what I'm
saying
saying.
Kim, you're saying a group of people.
That's what I'm saying.
She's using it as
That's
an example.
what I'm saying. So Kim is now the they.
I know,
Kim
but
is
that's
now
not the same
the
thing.
they.
Saying one person did one thing and saying a group of people conspired to do a thing is not really the same thing.
Ah,
Now,
it's-
if you said
oh,
the
you gotta-
people
you
in
gotta-
this people
He's
got
not
together.
Listen to her, please.
No, I am listening. So I'm just saying that's not. It's not. It's apples and oranges.
Okay, so let's just all take a deep breath.
But anyway.
Can we just take a deep breath and just let it go?
There you go.
So
Keep coming back. Work it.
it would be as if we all woke up to the fact that Promise Resource Network is trying to hurt us, right? Talk about, we might have a lot of people with differing feelings about it. We might have some people that would deny it. We would have some people angry. We would have some people sad. We would have some people would march out. We would have some people trying to make change. Everyone would react in their own way around the one fact that an organization ran by many people that all have the same idea in mind, which would be to do harm under the premise and guise of, I want to help you. I'm going to be your false savior. Okay? The false God. Because it goes back to all of that, right? Because everything is the same when you look at these things. That's why going back to nature really is a big service, because we start to recognize the deep connection of who I am and what I am is to the earth and to the oneness with all life ever. And so when we recognize that there's a one entity, the entity could be one being or multiple beings. When we all recognize that that has been trying to harm all of us, we don't fight. We will have compassion for everyone's understanding or not understanding of what's happening. And we love that someone is fighting against it, someone is denying it, someone is like losing their marbles. We all have compassion for that because we all see it from this perspective of, oh shit, we've all been duped. So that's the why. Why would someone try to dupe an entire population of humans to gain control over resources? The land is not just the physical land, it's the resources, it's the elements, it's the uranium, it's the gold, it's the all of the fossil fuels, right? And then that turns into more money. And then once the land becomes toxic, then the government owns it. So if they make now land toxic, it all of a sudden is theirs. Oh, look at that. Now we just have a whole state of, say, Ohio that just lost all of their land. But now the government owns it. Or we can call Norfolk Southern the same thing as Vanguard, same thing as BlackRock. It's all connected.
She is so connected.
Yes, he's very connected.
So that's the point. The point is being able to see all of this shit and still be able to be like, I am. You know, I'm still connected to this earth, that there are going to be landslides, there are going to be rainstorms, but she's still going to provide for me. She's still going to grow all the medicine and nutrients I need, as long as I take care of her to remember that. And that's what I learned from the trip. That no matter what, I deserve to feel healthy and well, right? I deserve to breathe in clean air and drink clean water. Y'all, you can drink the tap water in Costa Rica.
Oh, that's what's up. That's cool.
You can drink the tap water. It doesn't taste like or smell like chlorine. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't give me headaches. You can just turn on the tap water and just drink it. Like it's nuts.
That's
It's
cool.
like Costa
I gotta go
Rica.
to Costa Rica.
It's so good.
It's something
I
about
gotta
the
go to
water,
Costa
like
Rica.
extremely polluted. It's like it's like ocean type life water. Is that what I'm thinking about, or is it like the Gulf of Mexico?
Maybe
Mexico,
parts, maybe
people-
places around the Gulf, for sure.
people
Yeah.
polluted.
But the water in Central America, in many places, you know, parts of Mexico I cannot speak to. I've gotten very sick with that water personally. That's not fun. Can't drink the water in Peru, apparently. I didn't when I went. Don't want to try it. But I know in like that, the Central America of like Costa Rica, I'm going to assume Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, and those, I'm assuming that all the water is safe. I don't know. Can't speak to all of them.
Less
Right.
people. Less people, less pollution.
I mean, so the U.S. and other countries. So Costa Rica doesn't even have a military. They are peace.
Yeah.
They live with the land,
Wow.
and in that land, that terrain is no joke. Like you have to have a 4-wheel drive, and you got to know how to like drive it because the roads are scary.
Where is that? I wasn't.
You gotta know how to drive.
Oh, it's
Yep.
based out.
Yeah, like the roads are an experience of life right there. I'll tell you what.
Ooh.
But
One day I'm gonna see it.
yes. And like, I think it's just that remembrance that like we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be well.
Right?
We all deserve to be healthy. We all deserve that. It's our divine right. You know, it's our divine right to be taken care of by ourselves and each other in community. You know, where I stayed, like there were people from all over the world there. and no one was better than anyone. No matter what someone had or didn't have, it was, oh, here, what do you need? Here, I have that. Or, hey, I need this. Can you help? You know, the fact that, you know, we all got to sit there one day and peel, I don't even know how many cloves of garlic. Like, how silly that sounds, but that's one of the most memorable things I had, is that we're sitting at this picnic table from people literally from all over the world, having these conversations about how to create more businesses that have heart and like compassion in its creation, peeling garlic.
Awesome.
Like, could you imagine if that's what you got to do for the day? What did you do today?
So simplified, so peaceful, so
Yeah.
simplified.
Yeah,
And it had to feel freeing to be a part of that experience too, huh?
yeah,
That's probably why you remember it so much.
yeah.
I mean, that's where my mind went when I envisioned doing just that.
Yeah. But, you know, think about this. So I don't know about y'all, but like, I love to cook. Does anybody like to cook? Does anybody like to do dishes?
What?
See, notice that nobody raised their hand for both.
What was the question?
Who likes to cook?
Do I what?
Like to cook?
Not particularly.
Do you like to do dishes? See, and so, but there it was like, you know, there would be a different group of people that would cook the breakfast and then the cleanup crew. But I cleaned up my own dishes, you know, and sometimes I'd be like, let me get your dish for you. Sometimes someone would do it for me and I'd be like, thanks, you know, and it was just this way of being where we all took care of ourselves and allowed others to take care of us in the service of the whole community. Doesn't that just seem like so out of this world and yet
Well, some
so
people-
duh?
Some people are not ready for community living.
You know?
Whereas
Yeah,
when you take on the aspects of that, the simplifications of living amongst each other, working for each other, you know what I'm saying? Cooking, cleaning, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You be in charge of cooking breakfast, and you be in charge of cleaning up, and she'll be in charge of cooking lunch, and we'll be in charge of prepping the food. And see, it doesn't reach a lot of people. A lot of people don't have the vision to see that.
can we respect, please?
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
To actually see that, and what's gonna come along with it.
Mhm.
Like you said, y'all brainstorm, y'all think about how to make businesses that are beneficial for the people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that vision, you can't see it.
Yeah.
You can't see it being done or how it's gonna be done, or you can't see it.
Yeah.
And this technology doesn't help any.
No, the technology, I noticed that too. Just, you know, like the posts and stuff that I see, it's like people that are like, look how great my life is, or look how crappy my life is, right? But no one is really showing just like, look at what life is. Because it would be pictures of people peeling garlic. You know, it would be pictures of people in this room
Yeah.
where it just looks like we're sitting here.
God.
But like this is life to me. Like we're hanging out, we're talking, like we are lifing to the fullest. Yeah.
Well, my about the trip, I don't know if anybody else is getting this, but for me, like, that connection, it's like, just from you talking, I could get that feeling of peace because I understand how the earth itself is a community. The animals, the water, the land, and everything that you describe and everything that's going on is the earth showing us this is how we do live as a community because the ecosystem is a community. It doesn't matter what anybody's what they trying to do to it, and I apply that to myself. It don't matter what they try to do to us. If we keep thriving, if we just do our parts, and like you said, somebody might wash the dishes today, somebody might wash them tomorrow. Just work together, just by simply existing and being at peace with your natural self, then it's gonna work regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's taking this idea of oneness, like that that my one body makes a difference, and that the one body of this community makes a bigger difference. You know, and this one community with that community, you know, now we're, oh wow, this one country makes a difference, a bigger one. And so it always starts with this body, this mind, and this spirit. You know, and sometimes we have to take this body, mind, and spirit out of the normal to see maybe what's valuable.
And that's the thing.
You
right?
know?
There are those who live like coastal living, where they don't allow Western civilization to come over there.
Mm-hmm.
They won't allow Westerners to come over there and contaminate what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the false doctrine of democracy and religion and things like that. They are in tune with the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in accordance to what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has the right to infringe upon that.
Mm-hmm.
Either you with what they with, or you stay outside where you can venture on anything that you want to venture on.
Yeah. I mean, and think about that too. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, that's like my house, right? I have like my house rules. You take your shoes off when you walk in.
That's the rule.
That's really it's basically it, you know, like no smoking in the house. I don't know. I don't drink alcohol, so I usually don't like. It's not going to happen in the house, but yeah, whatever.
Right.
You know, so like I kind of hold this standard so that when people come over, that's kind of what they need to do, or they can leave. Like I don't care, right? So I kind of make them assimilate to my way of being. Now, when I go into others' houses, I don't do that. I might still take my shoes off, but I don't make them take their shoes off. I don't make them prepare food that I think that we should all eat. I don't go into someone else's house and make them assimilate to what I tell them is right. And that's the difference. That's the flip-flop that's happened. You know, if I go into your house, I want to honor your rules. You know, I want to honor you and your traditions. I may not agree with them. I may not align with them. I may not pray to the God you pray to, but I'm still going to bow my head in reverence because that's your practice, right? But what's happened is when we look at the history of humaning, when the colonizers would come over to wherever land they went to, they made people assimilate to the way they were. And if they didn't, then they killed them. So it's either you be like me or you die. And by the way, I'm taking your home. And so we're still seeing versions of that playing out, right? But what we're starting to do, I think, is starting to understand what my rules and my boundaries are. And once I know them, then I know I can walk in anywhere else and be like, okay, I'll honor your rules, honor your boundaries. That doesn't align for me. I need to go, right? And that's where we start to embody grace, you know, but we got to really tune back into what my body is feeling, what my mind is actually healthily thinking, right? Not being in this like rabbit loophole of whatever, or being like out of this, like the mindset of like a drug-induced space, you know, or whatever. And having my spirit, like recognizing that I'm a part of something bigger, an energetic force field, you know, like whatever the word is, the wordless thing. Yeah. And so to me, that's where we're really moving into.
Yeah. I can feel it.
Yeah. And we don't have any other choice.
Yeah.
You know, this is the new year, y'all. It's spring. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
This is the new year.
Yeah, it actually is. Spring,
Yeah.
new cycle, new shit.
Yeah.
The first cycle of
The
the year.
vegetation.
Yeah.
Vegetation, all that stuff.
Everything is being born or reborn now. The new year that was in December, January, that's just BS that they made up to make us assimilate and move our energy in a way that isn't natural.
It's not natural.
You know? So here we are, right? So here we are, humans, humaning around the best we can, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then shit, I want to go to Costa Rica. Don't worry, I want to go back to like now, yesterday.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it's like, well, what can we do if we can't go? I can't go there today. I can't go there this week. I can't. It's not in the cards for me right now to go back today. So it's like, well, what can I do? Well, I can go outside and I can roll out a blanket and I can lay out in the sun until I get too cold. I can go for a walk. I can just go sit with some trees and and sit with it and ask the tree like, hey, I just realized that your root system is connected to all the other trees. wow, how magical you are. I'm magical too. I'm connected to everybody else. Like, let's have a conversation. You know, ask the earth to give you the messages and the medicine that you need, you know, and focus on these things and kind of take ourselves out of the comfort zone. So it got me really thinking. So the last night I was at the farm, big storm, landslide, we lost power. And the power never came back on the next day. Huh? I know. God, I'm so glad you reminded me of this. Like, I'm really grateful and also like kicking myself in the ass just a little bit, but thanks. And you know, like, you know, when you lose power at your house or wherever, it's like everything kind of changes and the energy changes, and you're like, maybe you're lighting a candle, maybe you go to bed early, maybe you go outside, and because there's more light outside. Like, maybe give ourselves the opportunity to put ourselves in new situations. Like, what if you just turned all the power off or pretend like you don't have power?
When, due to like natural causes, when there's power outages, for some weird reason, I feel like it's a pause, a break, like from world stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when the internet goes out,
Well,
you
that's the
know,
world as you know it.
Yeah.
You know, internet goes out, lecture goes out on the block for a couple hours. You know, it's like a pause.
That's a good way.
And I noticed the first day that I was at the farm, because like that was like you have no access to the digital stuff, not really. And I realized like I had used the bathroom, the compost toilet, because you had pee toilets, pee only, you cannot flush toilet paper. And then you had the poo toilet, anything go there. Anyway, so I'm walking back and I had this feeling of like, it felt like I walked through a wall of anger. And I was like, whoa, okay, that felt like anger. What was that? And I was like, ooh, it feels like frustration. What the fuck is that?
You feel that too?
And then, yeah, then I was like, and then I asked myself even more like, okay, what is this? And it was like, you need to, you got to, you should, right? You should do this. You need to do that. You got to do this, do the thing. And then I was like, but I can't. Oh, I had to just move through that discomfort. Oh, and then it moved through. And that's with me being like really aware of myself.
Yeah.
There are people that can't.
That can't connect.
Like, it gives them too much of a glitch of discomfort to put their phone down and not touch it. To not check the emails for a day. Right? So imagine going somewhere where you can't. Like the potential feeling that would activate in the nervous system where, you know, you don't have any distraction, no substance, like there's nothing to do other than maybe get your ass in a hammock.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Which sounds like such a gift. And it's also really big. It was a big medicine for me to just be with that moment of like, whoa, I feel like I need to do more than what I am. But it's that pause. You know, sometimes the pause is a welcome pause. I love a snow day. God, I love a snow day in the South because everything shuts down as soon as they mention it. And it's like, yay, free day. You know, and we can't do anything. But what do you do on those days? For me, let me do the emails. Let me do the thing online. Let me. Let me be productive and not let me take the pause for the pause that it is. So an invitation is to pause. You know, to put yourself in a new situation, a new environment. You know, if you go home one way, just go a different route home. You know, see everything like it's new to you for a day or two. And just see if that gives you a space of inspiration, of remembrance, of reconnection. Go outside, all the things. And remember that we are here to be in community and be taken care of.
It's strange. Like, I remember I used to love snow. I love snow days. And like people thought I was crazy because, like I said, everybody gets so busy where I can catch up on this. And I've always been the one where I'll suit up and I'm going outside. And like when I'll be out there, it's so peaceful. It's like there's no difference between the grass and the street. There's no boundary lines. There's no nothing. And I just walk and just like enjoy it. People like, man, you crazy out there? I'm like, no, I'm free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Have a good one. So,
It's very much peaceful.
right? Like, we have so much more peace and abundance at our fingertips that I think that many of us don't even look to don't tap into, ignore, forget, put it on the back burner, right? I'll feel better when, I'll tend to that when, I'll wait for the snow day too, you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that I'm back and that I got to share my experiences, and thanks for asking about it and letting me share and sharing in my enjoyment and excitement. That felt really good for me. And I'm really grateful to like have y'all be a part of this with me. And it's good to like be back. I was messaging with Sam because I was supposed to be back. I was supposed to be back in Charlotte on Wednesday. And then I'm like, I should be able to make it because I should be back. And then it was like, I didn't get home until a little after 9 last Thursday. And I was like, I can't text even. I haven't slept. I was like, but please tell everybody I said, hey, like, so it's really good to see everybody here, you know?
Feels good to see you too.
Exactly. It's been a long time.
Hey, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I feel more centered down.
Yay.
I
Yay.
got to learn a lot of more new things.
Oh
It
dear.
feels real good to have you back.
Thank you.
Expressing your feelings and how to connect with life.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
It feels good. Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Listen to you.
Thank you, Jane. A lot
Thank
of stuff
you.
you talk about is all new to me, you know? So
Yeah.
it's exciting to learn new things and hear your perspective on things.
Cool. Thank you
Yeah.
for that reflection.
Yeah, I mean, mine is different from yours, but it's still, you know, nice to learn new things and hear people's perspective.
Yeah. I love new perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
Yeah.
Cause it's a reality that I either live in or I don't live in. And either way, like it's a reality that isn't through my lens.
Right.
Like how cool is that?
Yeah. It is cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
so good.
I
Yeah.
got a question. What was the medicine called again that you made?
Cacao.
Cacao. How you spell that?
CACAO.
CACAO.
AO. Mhm.
Cacao.
Yeah,
Now
normally.
you can remember, you go, cacao, cacao.
Yeah, that's yeah, pretty much.
That's
Pretty
funny.
much.
That is one way to remember.
That is pretty good actually.
That's smart, man. You were told like a bug.
He had two
Fun factoid, the hypothesis has been around forever that Mother Earth is like a living thing is actually there's actual scientists starting to recognize that hypothesis now. I just read a couple of articles about it the other day based on the characteristics that the Earth herself shows in different situations and stuff. Actual other scientists are starting to realize, hey, this is like a
living being.
living thing, like
Yes.
a living organism, not like most other, plants and animals and humans, but it's starting to gain recognition that, and that hypothesis, like the Gaia theory, it's been around for like ever, but it's actually real scientists are starting to acknowledge that,
Mhm.
hey, the Earth is like an alive thing, just like all of us.
It's funny how like nature doesn't need to prove itself. Right? Nature is like, look at me, I'm magic. I am creating everything and I'm killing everything at the same time. Look at me, I'm nature.
Nature.
Right? Birth, life, death, rebirth, cycle. And then a scientist comes along and they're like, no, that's not real. Right? That's not alive. That doesn't have consciousness. That doesn't have feelings. And then it proves itself to be alive, be living, have feelings, have a consciousness. And then they try to figure out how to prove it. And then they prove it, and then people are like, well, now I can believe in it because it's been proven.
Yeah.
You know,
But I
it's just
think
it's so funny.
that
It's like polarity
they're
or
like, oh.
gravity or the moon cycles. It's been doing it. It's just when we notice that, oh wait, the moon has an effect on the oceans.
Yeah, but have y'all been noticing that the sun and the moon's been out at the same time?
Mhm.
You've been noticing it. I've been noticing it too. What is that? What do you think? Why is the moon and the sun out at the same time?
That's a longer story than I have time.
And also, just taking your sneakers off or taking your socks and sneakers off and making ground contact, like recharges the body. Like, and it's also like studies around how it alleviates cardiovascular diseases, more circulation by recharging the body, just making contact.
Yes, sir.
That's legit. I knew that, and I've been practicing it. I've been sharing about like get your feet on the earth. I mean, how many times have y'all heard me say that shit? But I tell you what, after doing that for almost a month, basically being barefoot on the earth for almost a month straight, coming back and then spending more than 24 hours basically in an airport, and then coming back and then kind of in that zone and then like, let me go to the store, or whatever that zone is. And then it was like days later when I was exhausted and I was like, am I sick? Like, what is wrong with me? And so I took my shoes and socks off and I just stood on the earth and I did my shaking, got my fascia moving, got my nervous system moving, got my blood flowing. And then I was like, what? I was like, here I am. Okay, she's back now. It's amazing. It's a recharge. We're electromagnetic beings.
You take your socks and sneakers off in here, you'll feel nothing. You go outside and put your feet in the grass and they contact with the dirt. It just feels snuggly. It
really
just
does.
feels good.
Although I do feel that this floor we would feel something because it's real wood. Yeah, it's not vinyl. Like this is because this is such an old building.
Yeah.
Like that we would, because this still has the element of wood. Big right here. But and bigger for sure, yes.
Sun gazing definitely. Too.
Yeah.
I do it right when the sun comes out at sunset. And that's when I see the moon out too.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the earth is changing. The earth is changing.
Mm-hmm. She's moving. She's grooving.
Yeah,
She's
I have
gonna
to
do
wear
it.
sunglasses because the sunlight in my
I
eyes.
don't know.
I
Everybody should become some
depression,
more consciously
and
aware.
it just makes you feel more alive.
It really does.
Yeah, just that sunlight right in your eyes, it does
Yeah.
something.
It really does. It's amazing because then we're getting the full spectrum, right? Because the sunlight has the full rainbow spectrum of the light. So it's got the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, and the ultraviolet colors. Well, that's the whole spectrum of light that we are, right? But if I'm sitting in fluorescent LED room with blue light from this, like it's going to depress all of my sensory spaces and me. But the sun, I mean, that's the source of energy.
That's the source of energy. Natural source.
Like it's source.
Right.
Yeah.
Like since from children, like just the being taught, like without being told to stay inside, just the constant routine of from inside the house to inside the school bus to inside your home to back inside the bus to back inside of the school, where it's okay, now it's a treat to go outside for the 20 minutes at recess and then go back inside, and to then even doing activities, we got a plan to go outside and we're gonna take a smoke break and go outside, just these small little pieces as opposed to do things outside.
Yeah, it's almost like we've created a culture of humans that feels or believes that we only go outside when there's a reason to. I need to, so I have to. I got to go do the thing, as opposed to, no, I want to be outside and only put me inside when it's time to go in. And when we were kids, we all like that as kids. You go outside and play until the very last minute. You're like, you're told maybe to be home by dark and it's past dark, but you're like, the street lights meet at light, I don't know, or whatever. And we would milk every moment outside.
Oh yeah.
And now look at us.
I wasn't even allowed in the house as a kid.
Same.
My mom would just kick us out. We went out all day. We get another neighborhood. She didn't know where we were. It was great.
Right?
Such a great childhood.
Yeah. And we lose that, which it's not lost. We forget it.
Yeah.
Like we can still do that. Like we can easily like play outside. You know, we can easily when we're at home watching TV that we can get off the TV and like go sit outside and watch nature do its life thing. But you know, many of us are, you know, I saw something recently that like the human's attention span keeps dropping.
Yeah.
It was like it had gotten down to like our attention span was 12 seconds.
Wow.
So that means by 12 seconds we're bored, we can't pay attention anymore. It's gone down to like 3 seconds, I think, or something dumb. We have less of an attention span than like a squirrel.
It's all those machines.
Yep.
They watch all day.
Yeah. And if we just, and that we could literally fix it like
Yeah.
that if we just go outside and see how slow the grass grows, how slow that flower blossoms, how slow that cloud moves by, and maybe how fast some do. You know, how fast or how slow the sun makes its journey across the sky. You know, when we go look at the water, how fast it might be moving, how slow it may be moving, the ducks, how the speed in which they move on top of the creek. Then we can start to increase our attention span. We increase our patience. We increase our presence. And we increase our relationship with the earth.
Yeah, I'm happiest when I'm in nature. I love, there's a greenway right near my house. If I'm feeling down, I go for a walk out there to see trees and dogs and,
Right.
you know.
It's
just
so
love it.
good. It's so good. So thanks for the welcome back, y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
Are y'all coming on Thursday? I'll be here Thursday at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. All right. Yep.
10
Yep.
a.m. I'll be here.
Yeah. For expansions, the spiritual dimension of wellness.
My
Where-
favorite part with the
The tinctures.
tinctures,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you come on Thursday, if you remind me about what you said about the Rostaway, and I can bring that into what we can talk about.
Ross, what was that? Oh, Ross.
If you come on Thursday at 10, remind me, because I'm not going to remember. So if you come Thursday at 10 and you remind me, then, or we can just talk about different prophecies. Prophecies are always fun,
I love Pops.
right? Who knows? Who knows what they are? And I want to thank everybody online that joined us.
Thank you so much. Jen.
Enjoy the
Glad to hear
day.